Quite many people look at cloud from the technology perspective, but we see that it's quite big business disruption for the whole industry, meaning that there will be a changing way of how companies are doing business, and it means that nobody can anymore work alone. So there will be new ecosystems in place, new value chains in place, and even new roles in place in order to deliver the cloud services to the end users, whether they are consumers or then enterprises. There are some, if you look at some of the carriers, they are talking about everything in cloud. Today we are not ready for that because it might happen gradually, but not in one go. Because again, there are a lot of, for example, regulatory issues that you just can't put all the data into the cloud. There's a lot of technological issues that we haven't yet been able to sort out as an industry. And then the business model is as well one of the challenges, that how we take into revenue what we are expecting from the end users, and how we split it with different players. So a lot of issues to sort out.
I believe there are great opportunities both inside and outside CSP's business. As Ulla mentioned, that the new business value chains are being evolved, and the consumer adoption of things like video, smartphone growth presents great opportunity. It's a brilliant playing field. So in terms of answering some specific opportunities, we already see growth of cloud-based services for SME and enterprise markets, like collaboration softwares, etc. The trend is going to continue more towards further residential and consumer services. So CSPs have a good opportunity to play their part and up themselves in the whole value chain. Okay, that's definitely one thing. The industry which is a challenge, sure, like many others, just like Ulla mentioned, regulatory aspects. But this is not something which is today and won't be tomorrow. So I think what we are seeing is that some small to medium size developments going on. So different operators, different industry players trying different things. And I think this is the mode we will see the industry will take, trying things out, learning from the experience. And this interoperability is also a similar thing. So industry will take its time, but we already see some initiatives on every aspect. You know VAC doing similar standardization, similarly in machine-to-machine and connectivity spaces. So the trend is there, but definitely there are challenges.
So the main challenge is still in the complete cloud, service deliveries it's quite a multi challenge. So first of all, course, all the players need to have well-defined roles and responsibilities. That's one thing, because end users are demanding more and more high-quality services. And for example, SLA management throughout the whole value chain is a challenge today. The other one is that instead of selling the products, the vendors are also selling services. So the overall enterprise architecture needs to be revised in order to be able to, charge those services what they are delivering. So it's both in business management as well as the technology management side, quite big challenge. That's a tricky question, because again we all know what's happening in Apple, and then on the other hand, if you have everything from Apple, you want to have some applications which are not running on Apple, then you are in trouble. Especially in business environment, for example, business users, many of the applications are still in other platforms, and the compatibility is not yet there. So in that sense, it's always trading off. If you want to have open, you have more freedom. And if you are closed, you have for sure well-functioning systems. It's personal choice.
Okay, so with regards to how the operators are, say, what are the more focus areas for operators, more like internal or external opportunities using cloud, I would definitely suggest that operators should focus as well on the external opportunities. As we all discussed, cloud is a disruption in the market, and this is enabling many new services. And we have to see the bigger picture, as I said earlier, the phenomenon where users are adopting the internet more and more. So if my fear is that if operators just focus on using cloud technologies internally and not externally, they might risk losing or say losing the touch with their customers. So they have to make sure that they play this game and work with the partners, work with the ecosystem, to which will eventually enable them to know their customers, right? So, in my opinion, it is extremely important for the operators to focus more in also the external opportunities. And definitely internal makes complete sense. If you are deploying a data center for your internal business infrastructure, the same infrastructure should be able to be used for other bigger benefits. Yes, it's a yes. Regarding markets, definitely different markets have their own dynamics, and it also depends a lot on what level of infrastructure has been put in, and what is the comfort level for the operators, right? What is the pain? Let's put it this way. So different markets are different. In my opinion, as you said, the European and North American markets, because of the dominance of over-the-top players, is kind of limiting choices for the operators. So there we see limited intent or appetite for them to invest more. But if you move to the other markets, Latin America, you mentioned rightly, similarly Asian markets, especially Asia Pacific, and also some link to Chinese and Japanese market with people like NTT, Docomo, or China Mobile, very successful in these initiatives. So APEC market is definitely one of the early adopters. We are already seeing this. Also Latin American markets. And we also see Africa as a market which is going to catch up quite closely. Maybe not in terms of volumes, but definitely because there is less infrastructure there. And when it comes to deploying infrastructure, operators are looking to deploy more advanced cloud-based infrastructures because of its wide availability from the vendors and the other ecosystem. So really, in a nutshell, the key opportunities that we see today are in APAC market, Latin America, and Asia, Middle East and African market, but also the Central European, Russian for sure, but less pronounced for operators in North American and the European, West South European markets.
That's great.
So our industry has come to the point that nobody can anymore do business alone. So the partnership is extremely important in order to run the business, and cloud is actually enabling it. And it's enabling it in the way that, earlier small enterprises or small startups, for example, there was big barriers to enter to the market. But nowadays, the traditional telco operators are also seeing the value of innovation that comes from the internet. So they are more and more ready to partner with those smaller players. And then the smaller players are also seeing a lot of opportunities when teaming up with the big players. So there are a lot of different type of partnerships happening in the market. And eventually the end users of the applications and services actually beneficial from those partnerships. It remains to be seen if it delays cloud service implementation, but for sure it will be a serious issue to consider. because again, when people start using more and more cloud services and also having their private information data in cloud services, everybody wants to be sure that it will be not misused. So all the providers need to really focus on ensuring that they can secure the services. We see telco operator being in a good place in providing that that kind of services, and then on the other hand they also have the trust towards their customers. So it even might make the role of the telco operator more important in the future because they have trust already with their customers, and then on the other hand they also might have better ways of guaranteeing the security than the other players.
Yes, as Ulla said, security is a big issue, and actually it has always been. There's no denial of the fact that a lot of the services we see today are in the gray areas, right? If you put it this way. But I believe that this is actually a good reality check. So I see it more as an optimist thinking, in the sense that this will provide all the players, including the regulators and all the other players in the value chain, the importance of how the whole thing can come down. But nevertheless, I think it doesn't appear that it will really derail the investments or as such, because we have seen adoption anyway from the end users, right? So I see this more as a checkpoint. So the providers, the regulators, everybody will have their say in it and will come up with an even better solution. But I don't see as a big setback which can derail the whole evolution towards that. So it's a normal, I would say. It's an event, right, in the evolution towards in the bigger cloud move ahead, right, that we see today.
That actually sets us in front of the reality check. Is the cloud real? Are there business opportunities or not? And this specific security-related issues are one of the test topics that, how does it go forward? So in that sense, during this year, I'm sure we will get some more understanding where we stand with the cloud business.
The key important bit to understand here is to see the bigger ecosystem, right? As I always say, just one mistake that we always see is trying to build the business models around cloud based on the traditional way we do it, right? What is the CAPEX, what is the OPEX? And a lot of the monetization that we will see actually has to be looked into the bigger, bigger picture, right? So monetization, we all know it's hard. It's not easy to monetize the enablers, but it becomes more important in the sense that you have to enter into this and start practicing and learning this, and much like the competition do, people like Apple do, people like Google do. So it is very important for CSPs to go into this game, right, and to figure out pockets of opportunities, and it won't be just one, it would be a combination of many factors. So just to name the few, as we always say it, advertising is one thing. Similarly, linking these new services and packaging them with the basic content and connectivity that they offer. Working with the local partners, right? Selling analytics, selling data, and also trading bandwidth. We all see these new concepts emerging. So I think it will be a combination of those few. And whenever CSPs, operators, right, do their business case, they have to keep this whole bigger picture in mind.